Hey athletes, I'm Haley Herdman, former D1 basketball player, mental health therapist, and mental performance coach for athletes.
And I'm Naomi Im, also former D1 basketball player, athlete mentor, and mental health advocate.
And we are the hosts of Mental Training Room. This is the space where athletes get real about the mental side of sport.
Whether you're on the court, field, or just figuring it all out, we've been there.
And we're bringing you the conversations we wish we had as athletes in hopes to help you become mentally elite.
Let's train the mind like we train the body. Welcome to the Mental Training Room.
We are going to talk about locker room talk today.
Yes, we are.
Something that we feel like has been, like, when we're thinking of things to talk about, that has obviously been something that's like been at the top of our list for a really long time. Why do you think that is?
I just feel like we've said in one of our videos and our reels, it's like locker room dynamic. Everything about the locker room is the foundation of a team, foundation of relationships that you build, also the connection you have with your coaches. As a whole team, locker room is typically the place where you guys all come together.
Literally spend all the time.
And talk about all different types of things, but the biggest thing is performance, I feel like. And so I think that's why locker room talk is such a big thing for us to talk about.
And I was thinking of like the actual like definition of like mental training. Like obviously we know what those two words mean individually, but putting them together, because I think something that we're like, there's so many different topics within sport. Mental training being one of them, but then I also feel like mental training applies, it's not like its own category, like it's almost like an umbrella, and there's other things. And so when we were doing like the recruiting stuff, we're like, wait, how does this tie back to, like, it all ties back to mental training.
I think that's so good, because with even just locker room talk, there's so much mental training that is played within the locker room that a lot of people don't realize is mental training. And if you are on top of your locker room talk, it can very much help your team exceed in different ways on the court, off the court, on the field, off the field. And so I think that's why it's we need to talk about it.
And I think what I was thinking of when thinking of like the definition of mental training, the words that kept coming to mind for me was like bringing intention to everything that you do. Because when we're connected, when our mind and body are connected, we're aware. So it's building intentionality and building awareness. And that's why we're going to talk about locker room talk, is to become aware of it and to become intentional about it, instead of just like, oh, I'm walking into the locker room with this energy, like with negative energy, but not realizing you're bringing it in. Whereas, okay, let's develop the awareness of it, and then from there, set the tone for our team or whatever it might be.
Thinking back from our experience, I feel like the locker room set the tone to how we approached even just our freshman year.
Absolutely.
And how that set the tone for the next 3 years. Yes, we learned different things we didn't want to do. But I did feel like the locker room, the energy in the locker room carried on throughout the whole program.
Hey athletes, it's Haley Herdman, host of Mental Training Room. Also, mental performance coach and mental health therapist. If you're listening to this, I know you're putting the work into your physical game. But what are you doing for your mental game? That's where I come in. I work with athletes, teams, and parents to build confidence, handle pressure, and develop the mindset it takes to perform at your best and be considered mentally elite. Whether it's through one-on-one coaching, team sessions, or parent workshops, I'm here to help you train the mind like you train your body. Want to work together? Reach out on Instagram at mtr.pod or visit haleyherdman.com to get started.
So let's start off with like defining locker room talk, maybe like in our own words. I think go along with like the trending words now, like the aura of a team. Of like, what energy are you bringing into the locker room? How are you approaching team talks from either a coach's standpoint, captains? How are you talking about a practice before or even after? How are you getting ready for a practice? How are you getting ready for a game? All of those things are what come to mind for me about locker room talk and like what we're about to talk about.
I think in the past, for me, locker room talk was a space for us athletes or your teammates to just kind of gain that team dynamic, whether it was negative or positive, creating cliques or not. I think that's what I viewed it past tense. But now, knowing what locker room talk should be, I do feel like it should involve so much more like deeper talks rather than like the click talking and gossiping about your teammates and talking about your coaches negatively, talking about the program negatively, just complaining. And so I feel like a locker room that is wanting to win looks a lot different. And so hopefully today we can touch more on what that should look like.
Yeah. And I think it's also important for us to put out there too of how we would be responding if someone were to be talking to us about this stuff when we were in college. And I feel like a lot of the times it would be like, oh, we're just shooing them off or whatever. So to put out there of like, we know it's hard to be intentional all the time because of how tired you are, of the fatigue, of the burnout. But using these things as a foundation, as we said, when we feel like we're burned out or we don't want to do this anymore, let's go back to the foundation. And in terms of locker room talk, given what we both just shared, we can agree on locker room talk is basically culture of a team. That's why it's so important. So what does that culture look like? Is it energizing? Or is it negative? Is it energy sucking? Before this, we were talking about the thermometer versus thermostat.
Have you? That to me. I don't know.
So thermometer versus thermostat. So this goes back to locker room talk because it kind of plays into like the role that maybe a coach has or an individual or multiple individuals have on a team. Is are you a thermometer or are you a thermostat? So thermometer is obviously something you use to take the temperature. If you have a fever, you want to see what your temperature is. So it's like it's taking something, it's measuring something. Whereas thermostat is, okay, I want the house to be 67 or whatever. So that's setting the temperature. So are you a thermometer or are you a thermostat? Are you taking the temperature or are you setting it? And
really good.
Not everyone is gonna be a thermostat because if we had 12 thermostats on a team, that would be very hard. There would be a lot of clashing views. But why it's important is because we want to be aware of who is our thermostat. What temperature is being set right now? Is it an energizing temperature? Is it one that's negative? Is it one that it's encouraging people or tearing people down, making fun of people or building them up? If we have all thermometers on a team as well, that's also bad because then there's no one who's setting the tone. It's like everyone's looking around to the next person to be like, what's the vibe here?
Do you feel like that's a lot of pressure to put on one person to handle, like setting the tone for everyone?
Yeah. It's a lot for one person to be able to handle, but it's not just up to one person. It's up to the team as a whole to bring awareness to, okay, what is the thermostat today? Like if we're seeing someone is really setting the tone negatively, like, okay, maybe going to talk to them, bring them aside and being like, okay, maybe you just like take a chill day today. Like, don't worry about being the leader. We got it.
So maybe set an example for a day of coming into practice, how you would want a team to, set the tone, set the temperature, and how they can keep people accountable, not just one person, but many people. And I think a lot of teams rely on the best scorer or the best player on the team to hold all this weight. And I feel like we experience that a lot. And sometimes they can go into their shell or they can really lash out and, put all of that pressure like towards their teammates. So how would you set the day of what it would look like for a team to all cohesively be on the same page?
I think one, being able to establish the core values of a team and have that really set in place of like, okay, our core values are effort, attitude, and energy. So if those are what we want to be focused on all the time, or that's the underlying values of our team, making sure that each individual is aware of that and being like, okay, how can I show up to bring this today?
But let's say if someone is lacking visually, like you could see they're lacking in some of those core values, how would you approach them?
As a teammate or like...
As a teammate, but also maybe even the coach's perspective of, I don't know, like maybe more of the teammate perspective.
Yeah, with teammates is hard because, again, you can only do so much. Also, I would encourage athletes to go back to what they can control. Like if I see you nail your heads down, you maybe showed up a few minutes later than usual, you're not talking as much. knowing you can go check in with her. Are you good? Do you need
Right.
anything? And then depending on how that's received, you keep going about your day. But knowing that my teammates is a little down today, and if usually they're the ones that have the energy, let's all pick it up for
Right.
them. It's because it's literally a team effort. Again, like you said, it's too much pressure to have it on one person
Exactly.
to be, and that's, I feel
Setting
like
the
what I
tone.
can relate to.
Yeah.
It's like I was relied on a lot to just be like the positive one, no problems, whatever. But it's like I had shitty days. Like
Yeah.
that was too much to just always
Yeah.
be happy or whatever.
Yeah.
So if someone notices that, being like, okay, I'm going to pick up your slack today.
Right.
I'm going to have like extra energy because I
Yeah.
know maybe one of my teammates isn't. So recognizing it, again, bringing awareness to it, and
Mhm.
how can I pick up the slack for someone today? Like
Yeah.
we don't have sick days in college.
No.
At
If you're
work,
sick, you're not starting the
Yeah.
next day.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like at work now, I'm like, oh my gosh, if I
Right.
feel like genuinely sick, like mentally, physically, like
Yeah.
just not having the energy, like I can take that day off. Obviously,
Without
if I have 6
judgment.
days, without judgment, without questions being asked, it's an email like, I'm taking a sick day.
Right.
Great.
Bye.
In practice, in college,
do
being
that.
an athlete, you don't have those sick days.
Yeah.
So the sick days is like you show up not giving your best, but the team has to recognize like, okay, let's
Yeah.
pick it up for them.
Right.
And that goes back to the culture of what we're saying is like, are we having a supportive culture, an empowering culture,
Right.
whatever it might be. But to go back to your question of like the daily, what that could kind of
Right.
look like. I feel I have this vision of in my mind of like what a perfect team would look
Yeah.
like. And like on that, did you ever have like in elementary school, like red cards or green cards or
Yes.
whatever? And like
Yes.
they had it in the pouches.
Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason in my mind, like I would love to develop a system of like, okay, what's Naomi feeling today? Is she like a red card? And it doesn't have to be like those
Yeah.
colors. It could be like a mood tracking card
Right. Right.
of like, am I feeling down today? Hopeful, whatever it is. And like, we all kind of just like put in a card of the day
Mhm.
just to kind of like let people know.
No, but you don't have to speak about it.
Exactly.
Right. I think that's such a good idea.
Right? Because I can remember like showing up to 6:30 weights and
Mhm.
everyone's just like down.
Yeah.
And me feeling the pressure that I felt to have the
Hey,
energy.
let's go, ladies.
Yeah, exactly. And I was talking to a teammate about this the other day. I was like, you probably hated me because I would be like in your face, like in the morning, like,
Come on.
hey, like what's up?
Right.
But like that was because of the position I was in. I felt
Right.
like the
You had
responsibility
to
was
do
on
that.
me. Yeah.
Right.
But if we know, like, okay, Naomi's feeling a little hopeless today.
Right.
Like, okay, maybe we can help her fill her cup. So yeah, just being like vulnerable about that.
I think that's such a good idea to implement in a team because I feel like a lot of times so many athletes, like, I don't know, maybe it's because we were hyper vigilant on like analyzing behaviors,
Literally.
but like we knew when someone was down or this or that, but no one spoke about it.
Right.
Like it was just like a floating elephant in the
Yeah.
room. And I think understanding and being vulnerable with your teammates, with your coaches, like, and everyone accepting where you're at and still picking up the slack, like it builds such a different selfless culture that I think is very needed in a lot of teams. So I think that's such a good idea.
Again, literally. But it takes a lot of self-awareness to be able to do that for other people. But it also has to mean that everyone's kind of like in the right headspace too. So that's why it's like in my mind, like I said, like an ideal version of a team.
Yeah, but I mean, like, even if they're not in the right headspace, at least we all know. You know, like instead of they're not running as hard or, you know, picking up the slack for everyone like they normally are. And we're just like, they're not having a good day.
Right.
Like they're not trying today.
Right.
You know, so I feel like it's very good to visually see, okay, they might be a yellow today.
Yeah.
They're not a green, but
Yeah.
they're a yellow.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And then it goes back to is like bringing the coaches into it is like, okay, if they're seeing that Naomi's a yellow, let's maybe like come out with her with a little bit more compassion, like a little
or
toughness.
Talk over there and instead of getting yelled at in front of the whole team. Because
sometimes not assistants, sometimes coaches in general see you're mute, see you have nothing.
You're not gonna
and
try
they're
today.
right.
Yeah.
And then they're like shitting on you even more, and it
Exactly. And
makes
then
you
you
go
feel
more
even
internal.
shittier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just women. I don't know. I know a lot of men, like I heard the other
But
day.
they really don't express their...
Exactly. Like I heard the other day about a coach who was cussing out his player like center court. I was hearing it and being like, oh my God, I would crumble. But it was a male coach and a male player. So I don't know if maybe it's different for men. If they like, I mean, I'm not saying men like to be yelled at, but obviously the social norms are different of how they deal with emotions. So yeah, that's just, and then talking about all of this makes me think of, yes, obviously we're talking about locker room talk, but at the end of the day, it's like learning how to manage other people.
And that's so good because I feel like I wish coaches understood the impact of something so small like this, because the better your athletes are in a better headspace or, feeling vulnerable, feeling seen, they will perform better for you. And if you're understanding of that and trying to not cater to them, but just understand that they're humans, that goes a long way.
Yes.
And I don't think coaches really understand that, but they want every athlete to mentally perform and physically perform, but they don't understand like the little things of feeling seen as an athlete, understood, even when you're having a good day or bad day and you're going to be treated as such, is such a big thing that I don't think coaches really take notice with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the biggest thing too is sometimes most of the time coaching is not a one size fits all approach.
Yes.
So yes, we could be saying, and I was saying this because of one of the classes I'm in right now, but also talking to one of our old teammates over the weekend, was she didn't care or not even she didn't care, but she didn't want the coaches to know things that were going on in her life outside of sports or how she was doing. Like she genuinely just was going to show up and play basketball and do her job. But for us, I feel, at least for me, like I know I loved that. Like I wanted to talk to my coaches. Yeah, exactly. So it's not a one size fits all. Like sometimes you need to put more attention into players outside of the sport versus other players, maybe not. And it's like just knowing, again, how to deal with people. And that's same for teammates, of like knowing maybe a teammate is, and I did not do well at this, but knowing maybe a teammate is not a morning person and like they're going to be quieter for morning practices, but it's okay. Where else can you focus your energy on to make sure that practice is still going well and you're still like performing the way you can? So yeah, just like really getting to know everybody and how they like to be talked to, how you like to be talked to, and how everyone's dynamics work the most or work the best. Okay. What other problems? So freshman roles in the locker room. We have a lot of feelings about that. Okay, do you want to start us off on that?
Yeah. Okay, so like my experience or what?
I think, okay, so first I think we can acknowledge that there is a hierarchy. Freshmen are obviously at the bottom, but it's how we approach that. It's, yes, maybe you're taking the laundry and you're responsible for that, but how, as sophomores through freaking 8th years, can we support you through that? Because we've all been there. So yeah, do you want to maybe talk about your own experience?
Yeah, I mean, with my freshman experience, I just felt so small. And not that like my teammates bullied me or anything like that.
It was like almost the opposite.
Right.
There was like, no attention on us at all.
Like, we're just like little ants in the corner. And I felt so like I couldn't speak, I couldn't talk.
Which was so different for you because you like to run your mouth.
High school experience, I was the total opposite. So when I came to LMU, I just felt so small. And I wish, looking back, I wish that, like, how would I say without putting blame on anyone, but like
we wish there was more support almost, and guidance
and support. Like an empathy that what it felt like to be a freshman was universal for all. And
because we were felt that like
just,
what we were
just
feeling
come
was
into the program, be in the program, but we're like, we don't know what the program is. We don't know classes, this, that. Like there's so many responsibilities as like a adult at this point, and you're living on your own. And so there's so many things as a freshman that like I just wish people would just have empathy for these freshmen.
And then that's how we shaped our careers after the way that we approached freshmen. Like what my example with the laundry is like, okay, yes, you need to take the laundry. Like it's the freshman's job. And first of all, and I think in all of this too, it's like what we're preaching as well is like, freshmen, you need to accept your roles.
Like we understand that.
And then we were saying though, like we don't know what it would be like if we were a senior and Juju Watkins came in as a freshman. No idea how to navigate that territory. My advice would be like, yeah, she's a freshman. No matter how many Nike deals you have, like you're still a freshman, it's still college. I would hope that people are still abiding by the hierarchy in a respectful way, of course, but our approach to dealing with the freshman was like, yes, you're a freshman. You're going to go take the laundry, but we'll show you where the laundry is.
Right.
If you can't do it one day,
Ask
we
for
can help you. Yeah.
Yes.
You're
We
still your
never ask for
responsibility.
help.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, we never did.
Even with my broken arm, I didn't ask.
Literally, like you were
Yes.
pushing it with one arm.
Yeah. But
so following the hierarchy with respect and guidance and support, and that goes into a locker room culture of if that's what it's going to be, as freshmen are taking it,
right.
Great. Help them through it. Still treat them with respect. Whoever it is, like team managers, team assistants, grad assistants, whatever it is, like treat everyone with respect in the locker room, but still be able to support them through it to bring that like encouraging and supportive environment. Yeah, exactly.
This episode is sponsored by Defend USA, performance and recovery apparel designed for athletes who know that the mental and physical recovery go hand in hand. Defend's graduated compression technology enhances performance by improving circulation, reducing muscle fatigue, and increasing endurance during workouts. Designed for athletes of all levels, it also supports faster recovery by minimizing soreness and promoting better post-training blood flow. Just like we train the mind, we have to take care of the body. And Defend helps you do both. Check them out at dfndusa.com and use code MTR10 for 10% off. Train hard, recover smarter, perform stronger with Defend USA.
So another component of locker room talk is like pre-game, post-game talks and whatnot. What are your opinions on those moments in the locker room?
I think when it comes to post-game, like I just remember like specifically for college, it was so daunting, like because we did lose a lot. So every time there was a post-game, like it was so dreadful. And it was pretty much putting blame on the individuals who played a lot, obviously, but it was mostly negative.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about that because, like, obviously, sports, like, you have to point out the negatives. You have to point out what was done wrong to figure out how to move forward to do better the next time and fix those mistakes. But how do you make it a good locker room type of feel?
Right.
Like, what do you think?
I completely agree. I would say, obviously, pre-game talks, like, you've got to do it.
Right.
But the pre-game
are very positive.
Yeah, pre-games are usually always positive. I would say, honestly, though, the shorter, the better. Like,
quick.
You should have been able to trust your practice, trust your scout throughout the week so that you have like an encouraging pep talk. Maybe it's like even you bring your sports psych in to do a visualization, something to calm the team down. Yes. Like that's what I think pregame talks should be used for. I don't think do you remember when we used to go over like they would do
one player.
And they would
do this, you do that.
They would choose someone random to be like, what does number 5 do before the game? Like if you studied 2 seconds before a test, what's it going to do? Exactly. Like, you should have known that your players are doing the work. You should have the trust. Yeah. So my opinion is pre-games should be as anxiety, what would the word be? Not inducing, the opposite of inducing. As pre-game talks should create the least amount of anxiety as it can. Again, whether that's visualization, you do a breathing, you're just talking about encouraging things, maybe calling on the players to be like, what is one thing you're looking forward to?
Exactly.
Like really set the tone. Be the thermostat that you want to be. For the post game, like you said, it's especially if it's after a loss, which we experienced a lot, it's usually always negative, which never leaves anyone feeling good.
Each person, what they should have done, should have did.
And never an accountability on the coach either, which is like
hands are up.
Yeah, like I mean, I probably wouldn't sit there and be like, I did bad on the scout, whatever, but it's not.
You should say that.
Yeah, and it's not it's not just everyone else's fault. Like obviously there was something wrong at the leadership part. But my opinion on post games are that it should be done the day after.
Yeah.
Because again, no one is it's the heat of the moment, especially after a loss. Right. No one's going to say anything important, effective when they're feeling the intense emotions. Yeah. Unless there's a coach that's really good at emotional regulation.
Which I've never
haven't met one yet. But yeah, I would say post-game talks in order to protect locker room culture and energy should be saved for the next day. It allows people to go home to reflect on their own. And maybe it's even that if it's like, okay, everyone goes home and they write a reflection on how they think the game went. and we come back and we kind of share it, and it's a collaborative conversation. But also, I like that approach because when we're losing, things are really bad.
Yeah.
But when we win, things are really good.
Right.
Even though there can be shitty wins and good losses.
Yeah.
But when we win, a lot of people are like, oh, we did everything great. And like the coach is like, good job, we won. And we're not learning anything from it, even though we could learn things from it. So no matter if it's a win or loss, saving that talk for the next day, because it allows everyone to debrief, take out what they want from the game, and then be able to talk about it in a more calm way. Yeah, an intentional way. So we touched on a lot of good points for locker room talk, why it matters for mental training. Yeah. The biggest things are being intentional and being aware. What energy are we bringing into the locker room? What are our cultures? What are our values?
Thermometer
Versus thermostat.
That was really good.
And how are we managing the different dynamics that exist within a team? All of these things go into locker room talk.
I think one last point with what you just said with understanding the dynamic of every different human that comes into the locker room. It is very hard to manage so many different individuals, but I feel like that is the biggest importance of just understanding and allowing people to be who they are without judgment, and understanding you guys all come from different walks of life, and just having empathy and understanding it's not going to be perfect. Right. The locker room is never going to be perfect, but to have those, like you said, those
core values
to fall back on.
And again, not taking care of other people. I forget what you just said, but like managing the dynamics of other people. Right. The easiest and best and most effective way to do that is if you're taking care of yourself first, and you're accepting accountability for the energy and the role that you're playing in the team, in the locker room talk. It's not all going to be perfect.
Never.
Just like our experiences.
Yeah. Reason why Haley's going to share the funniest moment we had in our locker room, and it
still makes me pee to this day.
It's the best thing and we're going to tag her.
I wonder if she remembers. She probably wouldn't. Yeah, she probably would not remember, because when you go through trauma, you black it out. So anyways, we were in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, I'm sure, is a great place, but I never want to go back, just given the trauma.
It wasn't great.
3 games. This was and you got so sick too, remember?
Yes.
Our coach lost his wedding ring when we boarded.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
Anyways, back to the locker room part. So we were playing in like those like overseas gyms that people play in, where it's like they're not nice.
Very not.
And like the locker room was like, I don't even know what it was.
It didn't have light. I don't remember.
So and this is our freshman year. We just lost our 3rd game.
Yeah. Back to back to back.
Yeah.
1 day, 2 day, 3 day loss.
Our coach put in one of our players, who I think was like a redshirt sophomore, literally, or something, at the end of the game. And we were down. We were losing. But it was the first time she got in the game, too. So it was
because she was coming back from her torn Achilles surgery.
Yeah. And so and she was already we were all going through it. And so you get put in the last 2 minutes of a game and you're losing. So that's kind of like, you're not expected. Why would you expect to be the one to bring us back, right? So that's probably what's going through her mind. Yeah. But she was kind of like letting the other team like blow by her on defense, like not really giving much effort, as like one does with 2 minutes left when you're down. But we were close, was the thing. The other games were blowouts. This was like a 10-8 point game.
And we were playing a good team. Yeah. We were playing Indiana.
No, this was Grambling.
Oh,
yeah. No, we got blown out by Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana was really good.
Yeah, this was Grambling. So like we had a chance. And we were like, come on, like, let's go. Let's go, get the stop, like, whatever. We were like excited. And she was just like out there, like doing her thing. And then we lose. We go back to the locker room.
Liz heads down.
Like, talk about like a horrible example of locker room talk. Yeah. Head down, no one's talking. Captains, everyone's just fed up. It was also the Christmas break tournament. Like we just want to go home. We want Christmas to come, whatever. This girl, our teammate that got put in for those last 2 minutes, is just like sitting there, whatever.
It's dead silent.
And then she like, hold my microphone. She is head up and is like, at least we won. Like literally with the jazz hands.
We all looked at her.
Wait, were you playing at that time or no? Were you
That
hurt?
was my last game.
Okay, yeah. So I didn't play, obviously, and I just remembering wanting to laugh so hard.
No,
and I think
we all started bust out laughing
because
we even told our coach.
Yeah,
and she was laughing.
Oh, she came in and she was like, why are you guys laughing? So she's like, at least we won. And we're like, wait, remember the reaction? She was like,
the best experience at LMU.
oh my God.
So
Oh yeah,
good.
as we said, it's not all going to be perfect.
Yeah.
You know,
Have
you
to
just have
laugh.
to laugh. So here's to wishing you all have some great locker room talk in your near future.
Please tell us your funniest locker room stories.
Okay,
That's it for today in the mental training room.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram at mtr.pod to stay up to date with all things mental training.